Which wise man once said, "There's nothing new under the sun." Whatever you see today has its echoes in history, and your present experiences are mere reflections of the past. Yes, you guessed right, me, after I discovered that New Year celebrations aren't exactly a modern tradition, but have their roots firmly in the past. From celebrations that involve kings being humiliated until they cried, to villagers scaring away bloodthirsty monsters with red trimmings, history has experienced it all, and I'll tell you all about them in today's video. Hello and welcome to our channel. On today's historical journey, you'll discover history's fireworks, ancient New Year celebrations explained. I begin with the New Year celebration I know you're itching to hear. Kings that were humiliated till they cried. So, this celebration dates back to the Babylonians of ancient Mesopotamia, around 2000 BC. It was a multi-day festival that took place in March of today's calendar. Referred to as Akitu, the festival was believed to cleanse the world of all its impurities and start the new year on a fresh slate. Deities were paraded throughout the streets, while rituals were performed to demonstrate the victory of the gods over the forces of chaos. However, one aspect of the festival that caught my attention was the ritual and intentional humiliation of the Babylonian king. First, the king was brought before the chief god Marduk and stripped of all royal garments, emblems, and insignia. He was then made to swear that he ruled his people in honor and fairness. But that's just the beginning. After the oath, the high priest stepped forward and gave the king a slap across the face. Now, I'm in no position to say whether it was a heavy slap or a slap on the wrist, but what I can say with certainty is that the slap was meant to make the king cry. If tears wouldn't flow down the royal cheeks, the priest would pinch the royal ears in hopes of eliciting some royal tears. Now, if you're wondering, what's the obsession with tears? Well, the tears were a sign that the god Marduk was pleased with the king's rule and thus would extend his kingship. But that leaves me wondering, what if tears didn't flow? Did it signal the end of the king? I leave that to your imagination. However, one New Year's celebration that leaves nothing to the imagination is the Wepet Renpet of the ancient Egyptians. Unlike the royal tears of the Akitu celebrations, the Wepet Renpet was characterized by merrymaking. Beer was available throughout the period, and if you were crushing on someone, that was the best time to have a roll in the hay. The festival was tied to the annual inundation of the river Nile, which usually happened in the middle of July, setting the stage for the farming season. But how did the ancient Egyptians know when it was time for the Wepet Renpet? Well, according to history, they looked at the night sky for signs. Once Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, appeared, folks knew it was time to get drunk and engage in their carnal desires. Depending on who was on the throne, the festival could go on for a whole month. Now that's the kind of party I'd like to attend. Who doesn't like free booze and food for one whole month? But more interesting is the myth behind the massive party. According to Egyptian mythology, the bloodthirsty war goddess Sekhmet planned to eliminate all mankind. However, she was stopped by the sun god's ingenuity. And what was his genius plan? He tricked Sekhmet into drinking herself unconscious. Thus, to honor his bravery and wisdom, the ancient Egyptians drank to stupor and dropped their moral values even if it was for a day or month. However, one festival that didn't require the temporary compromise of one's moral values was the Chinese Lunar Year. It is one of the oldest New Year festivals celebrated today. Unlike the ancient Egyptians, the Chinese didn't engage in excessive revelry, but actually seized the opportunity to get rid of bad luck by cleaning their homes. Others, in a bid to literally start the new year on a fresh note, paid off all their debts. Families often got together for the annual reunion dinner, which was considered the most important part of the festivity. Food served during the period included pork, chicken, and dumplings, with some cultures, especially the Vietnamese, including fish. The fish wasn't finished and was left over as a sign of abundance in the coming year. You see, they believed that consuming all the fish that night could be a sign of scarcity and lack. However, allowing some fish to see the next day was a sign that you'll have abundant blessings all year. Several myths surround the Chinese New Year celebration, but one of the most popular stories involved a ruthless creature named Neon that terrorized the villages annually. So, to ward off the creature, the people devised a clever ruse. Somehow they figured Neon hated the color red and the smell of burning bamboo. So they decorated their houses with red trimmings. Then they burned bamboo and made a lot of noise to keep Neon away. Luckily, it worked and soon became an integral part of the New Year's celebrations. Some people believe that the noise-making was the precursor to the fireworks that have become a core tradition of the festivities. Interestingly, the Chinese were among the first to introduce fireworks to New Year celebrations, but this didn't happen until after the 10th century when gunpowder was introduced. Way to go, China! Also, if you want to be among the first to receive notifications of new videos we upload, subscribe to our channel and ring the notifications bell, or Neon will come for you. While the ancient Chinese and Egyptians were busy tricking vicious gods and creatures, the ancient Romans honored Janus, the two-faced god. Does Janus sound familiar? Well, it's because that is the word from which January is derived. So now you know where we got the month of January from. Would you also like to know how we got the names for the remainder of our calendar months? Let me know in the comments section. The god Janus was often depicted with two faces. One looked left, while the other looked right. One face was believed to look into the past year, while the other anticipated the new year, making Janus the best deity for the festivities. After all, it was only appropriate to have a deity that could help you reflect on the past year and inspire you for the upcoming year. The festivities began on the 1st of January, which was referred to as the Kalends of January. On this day, friends and families gathered in their numbers to exchange good luck tokens. Sacrifices were also made to Janus and other deities to seek their favor, protection, and prosperity. And after all, what is a big festival without food, wine, music, and dancing? The Romans immersed themselves in the abundance of finger-licking delicacies and basked in melodious dance tunes till Mama called them home. But that wasn't all. The Romans loved their games and made sure they held a few competitions to add color to the event. There was chariot racing, theatrical displays, and my personal favorite, gladiator contests. The Roman New Year celebrations were eventful as they were colorful, and they set the tone for the next 10 months. Oh, you didn't know the calendar months used to be 10 before eventually becoming 12 as we know it? Well, now you know. Now, what would you do if you were given the opportunity to rule for a few days at the start of the new year? Sounds thrilling, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what it felt like to be part of the Nowruz festival. Often called the Persian New Year, Nowruz, which means New Year, lasted over 13 days and had all the features of a New Year celebration. Large feasts, religious activities, and gift exchanges between family and friends. The king would organize a large meeting with his subjects to deliberate on activities of the past year and look forward to the new one. The celebrants would paint eggs, light big bonfires, sprinkle water, and dance into the night. But one event that drew my fancy was the election of the Nowruz king, who ruled for a few days. The Nowruz king was often a commoner who had the rare, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to enjoy the perks of royalty before he was dethroned as quickly as he was enthroned. Oh, how I would give an arm and leg to feel the pomp and pageantry of royalty. But alas, you know how the saying goes, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. However, I can still let my imagination run wild, can't I? And thus brings us to the end of today's historical journey. If you loved this video, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notifications bell. Meanwhile, if you fancy the weird history of ancient Greece, click on this next video and I'll see you there. Thanks ever so much for watching.